When asked about a habit we all wish we could break, most people would say social media addiction or doom scrolling that stems from technology use. We are all unfortunately addicted to this dopamine hit that we get whenever we view shorts, reels, or any other variation of short form content. But what if I told you the problem isn't the brain chemicals we release, but rather the association we make with it? Dopamine has been viewed as the enemy of the self-help community for years, the Snape of productivity, if you will. But I'm here to defend this guy, and here's how you can use your dopamine addiction to improve your life and productivity instead of letting it destroy it. We've heard far too much about dopamine detoxes and, get better in 30 days, quit your social media addiction forever. But honestly, are any of these sustainable, and do any of them actually yield permanent results? I think no, but this is an even better way to go about it than any of those programs suggest. When ranking the most beneficial habits of successful people, reading is on every single list. And you might be wondering, how do these two even relate? Well, they both give you dopamine. As boring as reading may seem when compared to being bombarded by YouTube shorts, it still releases a fair amount of dopamine when we do it, especially when we do it with our full attention. The key difference here is that giving our attention to instant gratification is so much easier than reading, which is why it's a lot easier to get addicted to scrolling reels than reading. But it is possible if we try. In fact, in one study, participants who read for just 6 minutes had increased dopamine levels in their brain. This is because when we read, we create mental images or simulations of what is happening in the story, which is quite similar to watching content. When quitting something, people often take this all or nothing approach, which often leads to relapsing. I mean, think about it. How many times have you been like, I'm never gonna use social media again, let's delete all the apps, let's never go on this horrible toxic platform again, and then a week later you find yourself re-downloading those apps or logging back in. Instead, a lot of studies suggest that the best way to quit a bad habit is to replace it with something else, perhaps something less stimulating, and that is where reading comes in. Because at the end of the day, this scrolling that you have going on is nothing but a habit. And it's really important that you understand that and start to disassociate yourself with it. Instead of viewing yourself as just a person who scrolls all day and a person who's addicted to their phones, you need to start viewing it as just a habit that you have over time become accustomed to. You are not the habit, you just do the habit. Hence, by replacing your scrolling with a less stimulating but still fun activity like reading, it won't be like quitting your addiction cold turkey. Instead, you'll just be receiving a lower dose of dopamine. So, how do you go about implementing this in your life? It's quite simple, really. The key is to start by picking a book you are truly intrinsically motivated to read and you're interested to know more about. For example, if you like basketball and you oftentimes watch content about basketball, then you might consider reading a biography of LeBron James, Michael Jordan, or any other athlete you look up to. Or if you like watching funny shows and funny reels, then you might consider reading a fantasy book or a romance book talk book, which will really get you hooked from the start. At this stage, it's more about enjoying what you read than learning something of value. So if that means reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid, then go for it. Like a low-key me. Like if I was choosing something that would actually hook me from the start, it would be Diary of the Wimpy Kid. By the way, did you guys know a new Diary of a Wimpy Kid book came out recently? I didn't know. I thought he stopped writing them. Anyways, the more you do this, you will slowly break the association that you've made with dopamine and scrolling and reinforce it with reading. So every time you get the urge to check your phone to get that dopamine hit, pick up your book and start reading where you left off. The key to this is don't overthink it, just do it. So wherever you go, carry a book with you. This will not only make you look really cool and mysterious, but you'll also be breaking your social media addiction in the process. And so over time, when you keep doing this, you'll either notice, number one, that you actually didn't need the dopamine and that you were just trying to procrastinate on something, or number two, that you're just really bored. A little warning though, when you're starting this, you will probably feel too bored to continue because reading is too low a level of dopamine than you are used to. Remember that the goal of this isn't to fully eradicate eradicate social media and become a social media free person, but rather it's about recognizing and becoming aware of the feeling so that you can reprogram your mind from just seeking the dopamine hit and getting it, which is the trap that most of us are stuck in. And by breaking that cycle and hence weakening that neural connection, we can actually become sensitive to it and break the cycle of addiction, whilst also becoming accustomed to the habit of reading and all of the benefits of knowledge that it yields. So interestingly, there is a list of like activities that yield dopamine, and reading seems to be the main kind of replacement, at least similar replacement to scrolling or TV. Because if you think about it, all of our grandparents, right, they did not have like phones or anything. So their main form of entertainment was reading and comics. And so that at that moment was equivalent to like smartphones today. So the closest parallel that we can draw between before and now and why the addiction or whatever is still prevalent is like books and comics. And honestly, awareness is the key to dismantling any bad habit. And what I think this does is give you that awareness in a much easier way, as opposed to, having to meditate or having to just cut everything out. It's more of a kind of slow way to get to that state of awareness, which I find myself in now. So I'm able to tell, right now I'm just trying to seek that dopamine hit, and I'm able to be aware of it. Awareness is power, awareness is strength. So yeah, that's pretty much the essence of it. I've actually tried this personally, and it's something that I just kind of came up with myself. I didn't really notice it at first, but when I become more aware of it, I realized that, this is essentially what I'm doing is replacing a more high dopamine activity with a more low dopamine activity. So guys, please try this out and let me know how it goes. And if you're gonna try this out, comment down below what book you are choosing to replace your scrolling time with. When I did this, I needed to do school reading actually. So I was reading 1984 by George Orwell, which is what we were doing in our class. But honestly, if I were to do this again, I would definitely do a book that I like more. On this channel, I like making videos about self-growth, academia, self-care, and just everything about being a teenager and navigating the world. So if any of that interests you, and you're also like a fellow teenager trying to navigate the world, then please do subscribe and become a part of the community, guys. It's a good time. It's a good time here. As usual, remember to keep treating people with kindness and make yourself a priority. Adios. Yes, the wall is now painted blue. These are the developments. I just graduated. So last time I uploaded, I was still in high school. And for those of you guys who don't know, I was in a boarding school for 11th and 12th grade. And now I am back home for summer. And 3 months later, I will be at college, which is crazy to think. This summer, I'm really planning on investing in my YouTube channel, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to be uploading twice a week. Yeah, you heard that right. 2 times a week of quality content. You don't want to miss out, trust. And I'm really going to be trying to give you guys the content you want. And after collecting a bunch of feedback from my previous videos, I now know a basic idea of the kind of content that I want to be making going forward. And that is content that helps you guys and content that is all of my creativity in video format. Also, I want to say thank you so much for 600 subscribers. It means so much to me. It just excites me so much, and we're almost at 1,000, so it would really mean a lot if you could subscribe so we can get there and have more of us in this little community of like-minded people. Oh my god, I have come up with the most precarious camera setup ever. Okay, it has been raining. See, I knew that was gonna happen at some point. Sorry about that. I hope you guys are cool. Are you good?